Oh my gosh, I haven't heard this song in a long time.
Oh no? There we go. There you are. Okay.
It's warm in here.
You look great.
Thank you. I feel like I have no life right now, but business is going good, studying. I haven't talked to you. Did I tell you I got the scholarship to go to UCLA? And yeah.
Oh my God. Really? Nice job.
Be going for a week to study, to train at the Kasari lab.
Oh, cool. Is that a good thing?
Yeah, it's a new therapy for autism.
Awesome.
So I am, every spare second I got, studying.
Okay, that's all.
Am I going to be referring to you as Captain Corey today?
No, just a tribute to him. 4 years, man. It's been 4 years since he's been gone. 4 years since the blast. In fact, Terry and I were walking last night, and I was talking about about the time we were walking is when the blast occurred, and I said I was sitting on my deck, and I felt the blast, and I didn't know what had happened, but but then I saw the smoke and all that, and I was like, wow. So Facebook hit, and I ran here. I came over here because downtown, they thought the downtown was going to go. The entire downtown was going to explode and burn. And so Jeff and I were on the radio till 10 o'clock. I think it was something like that. Yeah, all right.
Have they decided what they're going to do with that
No.
land yet?
Yeah, I think there's a developer that's set up for it, but it hasn't happened yet. All right, let's get going here. You ready? All right, cool. Let's make it happen. Let's make some magic.
I'm in.
Good morning, Sun Prairie. Time to rise and shine.
What?
Time to pour the coffee with Bill.
He wants to be human.
Time to rise and shine with Bill.
He has all the ingredients for disaster.
Time to get going with Bill.
He is phenomenal.
Welcome to Baker Street with Bill Baker.
Hey, good morning, Sun Prairie, and welcome to Good Morning Sun Prairie in Baker Street. You're listening to 103.5 WLSP, The Sun, right here in beautiful Sun Prairie, home of the award-winning Station of the Year, as chosen by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association. We're underwritten by those wonderful folks at the Bank of Sun Prairie and, of course, the Baker Realty Group, and proud to be a supporter and sponsor for the station. Hey, I hope you had a great weekend. It was a great weekend, a perfect weekend for walks and music and food and golf and cleaning garages, walking dogs, cleaning up poop. I mean, there's a whole lot of things that were going on. And so we also had an event happen. I'll call it a celebration that happened this week too. And that was the 4-year anniversary, the tribute for Corey Barr that we lost 4 years ago during the blast, as we call it, which produced hashtag Sun Prairie Strong. And so today's playlist, you're going to get a lot of tributes to this. I tried to pull up as much heroic music as I could because he was a hero. The man was going back in the building to pull out more people to make sure they weren't there, and gave the ultimate sacrifice. And our hearts go out to Abby and the kids, the twins. And I know that that love for her husband is so deep into her heart. And man, she's just an incredible lady. So if you see her today or this week, give her a hug because you know what's on her mind. And but you know, loss is hard. Loss is hard. Physical loss is hard. It's that mental side of it today. Now, talking about strong ladies, I've got 2 ladies coming on the air today, and I'm excited about it. We're going to talk to Christine Bright first this morning, and then we'll talk to Sara Milewski in the 8 o'clock hour and talk about her new show. It's called Prairie Stories, and it comes out of the multicultural. But we're going to, in our first hour, we're going to talk to Christine about Shelter from the Storm Ministries and something that's fantastic that's going on there. And but before we get to Christine, let's go in, and I got to start this show. You know, in 5 years, oh my gosh, 6 years of doing this show, that's over 300 shows, you know? I know.
Congratulations.
I've always started with going fishing, but this morning, with everything that was going on with the tribute last night to Corey, I pulled up something that I want you to listen to. It has to do with 9/11. Blessed Union of the Souls wrote this. It's from their album, I believe, but it's the 9/11 tribute. And if this doesn't get you teared up this morning or choked up, I don't know what will, because it reminded me of Corey, a fellow real estate agent, firefighter, and everything. And so this show is dedicated to Corey and to Abby and their family. And Sun Prairie, sit back and relax. Catch you in a minute.
Number 2 World Trade Center, requesting everything possible. I say a little prayer every single day, and I know she's there. I know she's listening to me.
Under pressure like that, I thought was just remarkable. I was really proud of her.
Saying goodbye, I love you, is the last thing I can remember.
They were completely around the building. We're into the building now, okay? What is it? I'm coming up to get you. I was the last person from the outside world that she spoke to.
greatest beacon for freedom and opportunity in the world.
As we gather to remember those who were lost
Maybe.
and honor their courage, we are deeply grateful. The events of September 11th grow distant in time, but they remain vivid in the memory of our nation and in the hearts of those who suffered such a great loss.
You know, love always finds a way, especially when you are hashtag Sun Prairie Strong, and we are hashtag Sun Prairie Strong. And, wow, to Abby, our hearts are with you, girl. And you're always in our minds, and Corey, you're always in our minds and our hearts and our thoughts. So, a little tribute there to Corey Barr. Hey, I've got a very dear friend sitting in studio, somebody that I just think is amazing, love her to death, and we have such great conversations. And it's Christine Bright, and she is the parenting game. I mean, she is the lady that brings it, and this woman, she makes magic happen with kiddos, I think. And I think really you train adults. And there was something I wanted to read here. I found real quick. It says, living life with grateful and thankful attitude, living each day boldly and bravely.
Thank you. Yeah, my Facebook tag. Is that what they call that?
Yeah, I know, right? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for letting me sneak in here this morning.
Yeah, you didn't sneak, hon. You strolled. I watched you stroll in here. As an award-winning producer, director, talent for the Media Center, congratulations on all your awards.
We had a great year here, did we not?
Oh my
at
gosh.
the Media Center.
I know.
There's so much skill and talent.
Yeah, we rock. I mean, that's what it is. Well, you know, the whole thing is we're all volunteers. People don't believe that when I tell them.
Oh, I know.
And yeah, we put in hundreds of hours, our own money. We pay to do this. Some of us pay for our own sets.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting time here at the Media Center because the radio station was chosen as the station of the year. We beat out the big stations like JJO.
Yeah.
You know, come on, IBA.
Yeah.
We beat them all out.
Yeah.
The media groups chose us. I don't know what we did or who we paid off, but we won.
So all our hard work paid off.
I think so too. We do a pretty good job. You do an awesome job.
I appreciate
When
that.
is your show on TV? You're a TV person.
Yeah, I am a TV person. It's also on the radio.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
on 103.5 at 8 o'clock on Fridays.
Okay.
And then the show, and I should have this memorized, but I don't, but it airs once or twice a day, every day, on Spectrum and TDS.
Wow.
Usually in that 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock hour.
Wow.
I think on Saturdays
In the morning?
it's at 10. No, I got prime time.
Ooh.
Wait, no, I think prime time's in the evening.
Is that what it is?
But yeah, so it airs, and then you can find it, on demand at KSOM. What did you just say? And then you can go to the Parenting Game Wins YouTube channel, and you can find all the episodes there as well.
Well, tell people what your program is all about. What was the intention of that? Because this is great.
Yeah, the intention is to bring information to parents to help them parent better. We cover, just a wealth of topics. We got some fun ones coming up on, how to handle picky eating. We do fitness. The favorite one, the one that was submitted for the awards, we did a series on generosity and highlighted different nonprofits where your kids could get involved, and the power of generosity for your kids, just the good hormones, how it helps them, if they're kind of getting a little entitled, it can combat that. It builds resilience. We did a series on autism and the resources out there.
Oh, wow.
And the ways that, parents can support each other. And then we did a really, and I need to pump it out again because it was really powerful, but we just talked to the community and how the community can support parents when they're out in public with their kids with autism.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times they're having a meltdown, or they're not acting how we typically think kids should act, and then we don't know how to approach them. It was really, really a good episode. So
anything you do is awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, but I want to tell people though that your TV show is an extension of what you actually do in life. What your your bill-paying job is, as our friend James Weingard would say. Your bill-paying job, and you work with families. And explain that a little bit, because the successes I've heard from you are just overwhelming. I love this, because I think you're trying to teach me how to be a parent, which, sorry, you missed out, girl. I mean, I tried the best.
Well,
I lost that handbook.
So we're trying to get you to grow up first.
No.
And then we'll work on the parenting.
Negative. Negatory.
I've seen you with your boys. You've done a great job.
Thank you.
You don't have boys come around and hang with their dad if you haven't done some things right. So
yeah,
I love those
I kind of
kids.
love them.
So Parenting Game LLC is my company, and there's a couple of different facets of it. The main part is parent and family coaching. So I coach individual families who are, there's yelling, chaos, challenging behaviors, and they want to learn how to navigate those interactions better and end up at the end of this journey having a good relationship with their kids. What is so great about Zoom is I have clients all over. I have Virginia, Texas, Colorado,
wow.
Here in Madison. That just blows my mind sometimes on where all my clients are. And then I still do child care professional work, which my heart is working with kids with autism. So currently I have 3 families that I'm working with. Just a new family. It's been an interesting dynamic. Nonverbal twin boys with autism.
Nonverbal. Wow. Wow.
And they are so stinking cute and so stinking naughty and so stinking smart. And so we're just starting some interventions there on getting them more verbal. And then another part that I do is I love partnering with companies through their health and wellness programming, or just because they want to support their parents and families within their organization. And I will come in and do talks and webinars. During that pandemic, that was huge when people were figuring out remote work and having their kids at home and how to manage that.
Yeah.
But I love doing that. And for employers, talk about increasing your employee engagement, loyalty. The feedback that you will get, your employees go, that mindset is not what I get from my company. It changes into what can I give, because they're so grateful for the help. And what I love is the emails never mention me. They see me as an extension of the company, which is what I want. And we're like, we're so glad you brought Christine in. I'm so happy I work for this company, blah, blah, blah. And that's what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be about bringing attention to Parenting Game, even though I do eventually get long-term clients off of it. But they see me as part of the company, so all that love comes back to the company.
Well, you had an incredible impact on Fairway Mortgage and the folks that are there.
Yeah, and I still have returning clients. That our contract ended a year ago.
Okay.
And I still have people that will contact HR and say, hey, are we still connected to Christine, and reach out and get coaching. And
being a parent today is not easy. It wasn't years ago. It's not like the Lucy and Desi Arnaz show or Father Knows Best. Now, this is before your time, by the way. This is the back in the time of black and white TV where you had to get up and actually turn the channel.
My dad would have us adjust the volume during the Packer game.
Well,
I remember those days.
We were the remote controls.
We were the remote controls.
Hey, get up and change the channel.
100%.
Oh my gosh.
Did you have anybody out there have a parent? So my dad loved the announcers on the radio.
Oh really? Oh.
Wanted to watch it on TV, so
yes.
he turned the volume down on TV, and then he would have the radio.
Yep.
And then we were the ones where they went to commercial on the radio, so then we have to go turn up the volume on the TV. When they came back on, turn down the... It was a whole thing.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, my dad liked to watch University of Kentucky basketball, but listen to the radio. A great play-by-play. It's probably like Mike Powers and I. People watch the game and listen to us. It's hilarious. But those are the days. I tell you. Back then we knew exactly what to do. All you had to do is say yes sir, yes ma'am, and do what you were told. Today, if I can get a yes sir, yes ma'am, if I can get a thank you or a please out of a kid, that's huge.
That's huge. What I do. I help you get those.
There you go.
Oh, you could. We'll just stop there because I'm here for another reason.
I know, but I'm setting this up. If you notice, I'm kind of setting this up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I have a thing that I believe in is come from generosity. Mm-hmm. Always come from generosity. Yeah. Seek to understand, stay in curiosity, seek to understand is my little mantra. And come from generosity. If you come from generosity, everything else happens. Yeah. It just falls into place.
Well, I tell parents, I said, if you're struggling with your kids right now with attitude and just that entitlement, get involved in acts of generosity.
Yeah.
And go to my YouTube channel.
Sure.
And you can see the opportunities there. I'm getting ready, which, by the way, I'll just throw that out there. I'm needing some suggestions for nonprofits. Now, this is for my next series coming up. We're filming it in August, and then it will air November, December. But here's the deal. The nonprofit has to have opportunities for kids to get involved. So some nonprofits don't have a way for kids to get involved. So that's the little bit. So I already got one box of balloons.
Okay.
They have tons of opportunities and ways for kids to get involved. So I'll throw that out there. Just either let Bill know or find me on Facebook and let me know. But I need two more nonprofits that I could highlight.
There's a faith-based one in Madison where they do lunches, and they're doing a Bible study during lunchtime. Yeah. The kids set this up. Okay. They did this and they planned it, and I can tell you more about that.
Yeah, tell me the details.
There's an amazing program that's located in this town, in Sun Prairie. Actually, there's many programs that are amazing that are based out of Sun Prairie. But we have one that we're both involved with, and one that I couldn't be prouder of, and what has happened with Shelter from the Storm Ministries and how it has grown over the 5 years that it's been around. I was so proud to sign one of the beams inside the wall before they sealed it up, with everybody else and helping and all that, and then also being the MC for the event, the annual event, which I'm really missing. I practice all year for that. But my job is to get the bidding going and all that stuff, and we've had a lot of fun with that. But it's Shelter from the Storm Ministry is an organization. It's a nonprofit located right here in Sun Prairie that really helps single moms with kiddos with a hand up instead of a hand out. Yeah. And what I like to say is they're helping children and their mothers step up and out of homelessness. Mm-hmm. And you'd be amazed of how much homelessness is around. Jane Niemer just logged on to Facebook. Good morning, Jane. Glad you could join us. And you can chat anytime you want on Facebook, because I don't know how to work the phone system yet. It's a brand new one. I don't know which button to push. And I'm a button pusher, and I have no idea how to work the darn thing.
That's saying something.
I know, right? Mm-hmm. They brought a phone that Bill can't break. But right. Shelter from the Storm, folks, is it's not a shelter. And that name will throw you off a little bit, because this is an opportunity for moms with kiddos to really advance their lives in the way of learning how to be a parent, learning how to handle their finances, learning how to interview, just really grow, and then also growing in their faith if they choose. Mm-hmm. It's not something that's shoved onto them, correct, but it's available to them. Jane Niemer, who we were just talking about, is the treasurer for Shelter. And, 150 kids have been housed and are safe. 50,000 bed nights have been recorded. 96% of families moved into permanent housing after they hit the facility. And 92% of the moms obtained a higher paying job than ever before.
Well, and I just got some updated numbers from
You did?
Kent.
Cool.
It's 59 families over the 5 years
wow,
that they've helped. which is 180 children and single moms.
Uh-huh.
And then they did a new stat, which I think is really powerful. So they've they combined the two that you just mentioned.
Uh-huh.
So over 90% of the moms leave with a better paying job and permanent housing.
That's awesome. That is just so awesome.
And that's what we call a step up.
Sure, absolutely.
There's no lateral movement going on here.
Yeah. And we need to celebrate this.
Yeah.
And so I know that we have a celebrations coming up and that you want to talk about, and it's going to be over at Harvest Moon Pond. So talk about it.
I'm so excited. It's the 5 years, so they do really want to celebrate it. And let me tell you, folks, it is such a good deal. So it's $10 to get in. Kids under, let me make sure I state this right. Kids under 5 are free. So it's at Harvest Moon Pond in Poinette. The doors open at 2, and they are going to have 9:30 standard. We'll start at 2:30.
Cool band.
They're going to have yard games, outside, very, very kid-friendly event. And then they're going to have some amazing food trucks there for you to purchase food. They're going to have beverages, adult beverages and regular beverages, water. So they're asking no carry-ins to come in. And then it's going to wrap up at 5, so it's just a nice amount of time to bring the family. $10.
$10.
$10.
$10.
$10.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
And then wait till you see the facilities. It's absolutely amazing.
So gorgeous. So gorgeous.
And if you've never heard 9:30 Standard and hear Amy Anderson's voice, you will love this. This will become your favorite band and one to follow because they are absolutely incredible. Jerry Fitzpatrick is on there. Also, you've heard him on the show here playing guitar. He's a member, and so it's just a great opportunity to get your kids out, do a little bit of fun, listen to some music, and support a wonderful charity.
Yeah, and there's lots of room so the kids can run around, wear their little patooties out, and then patooties, and then you can go home and just.
That's just so cute. That's just too damn cute.
Well, we gotta be PC, right?
No, this is Bill's show.
Oh, that's right. What are those 7 words, Bill? Tell me the 7 words.
I don't want to go and get in trouble again.
Yeah, you always are.
Thanks.
But yeah, if Sunday, July 24th, please come out, support Shelter from the Storm. They are, I think, in their thinking, they are so great. I was so excited when I started talking to them and they saw this gap with the need for parenting because their mom's there and they haven't had the best examples and what that looks like. And they are just so they want this full thing of we are sending these women out so much better, more educated than when they came to us. And not only are they going to be rock stars in the workplace, they're going to be rock star leaders in their families because they just have learned some great skills, and then they're going to be rock stars to their kids.
They are.
And I'm so proud to be a part of it.
What I love about this organization is that we have documented proof that the dollars you put in have a huge response to our community. So they've gone from being homeless, maybe living in their car, to now they have a productive life, a career, and they're a place to live of their own that doesn't roll around once in a while.
Well, and then you're impacting generations, right?
Exactly.
These are moms with kids.
Right.
So it's not just a mom, it's the mom and the kids were sleeping in the tent or sleeping in the car. And now you've just made an impact for future, generations. And, those kids are not going to forget that kindness and that help they've seen.
They won't. And they get to play. Now, you do some things over there also, right? Working with the
families? So
families?
we're starting, I'm really excited. It starts this Thursday. Will be our first session.
Nice.
So the parents, the moms, they got, kids will be off taken care of. So I just get to focus on the moms. And we are going to go through my parent coaching course for 6 weeks.
Oh, my gosh.
And they will learn, and I'm excited. I know for a lot of them, the ideas I'm going to present are going to be challenging because they may have never experienced it. So now to think about treating your kids in a different way and think about parenting a different way. But I'm also excited to share with them my story. My story didn't come out of like I was the greatest parent ever and I raised this great kid. It was I saw that I was bringing some really unhealthy stuff into my parenting, so I had to do some work and change my approach. And out of that, and working with families and learning and continuing learning when I go to LA, I'm so excited.
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. By myself. I am navigating all that by myself.
Oh, you've never done that?
I've usually flown with somebody.
Oh.
The one time I flew alone, it was a straight flight. So I didn't have any transfers, so.
You've only flown one time?
No, I've flown more than that, but I've always flown with a spouse.
Oh, you don't need no stinking spouse.
I know, so I'm going to navigate all this by myself.
You can do it, no worries.
No, don't worry, you might be getting a call.
Call me.
I don't know where I am at the airport.
I'll help you.
But yeah, so I am very excited about this opportunity and working with those ladies. I'm a little nervous, actually. Usually I don't ever get nervous, but I am nervous about.
Wow, really?
Yeah, because I really, really want to reach them. I really want to do a good job.
You will. There's no doubt in my mind. No, you'll be fine.
But I've been told to make my end that I need to bring chocolate. So I'm bringing the good Hershey Kisses, like the fancy ones with caramel in them and almonds in them. And
yeah, you get me with Reese cups.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you. You get me with Reese cups.
So I'm going to grease the wheels with some good chocolate.
I just think it's cool that you're teaching parents how to be parents.
Yeah.
Because I would love for us to go back in time in our society where children were taught to respect their elders. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter where they are. Somebody older. I got somebody questioned me the other day because I went, yes sir, yes ma'am, and they said, are you in the military? I'm like, no sir. Were you in the military? No sir. Well, you sure use sir and ma'am a lot. And I'm like, because I had a willow switch back in the day. I mean, my gosh, I could be at my grandmother's house, and if I didn't say yes ma'am, all of a sudden I'd get, what'd you say? I said yes ma'am, my mom, yes ma'am.
Yeah. Well, and I tell parents the reason they're not doing it is because you're not having the expectation of it.
Oh, look at that.
So without expectations, there's nowhere to rise. They're just gonna stay.
Right.
But I actually have to go work with a family, but can I pump out this information one
You
more
got time, don't you?
I have to be there at 8 and it's in Fitchburg.
Okay, why would you go to Fitchburg?
Because somebody hired me.
Oh, I see. Okay. It's a bill paying job. All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Pump it out one more time.
Okay, so Shelter from the Storm Ministries 5-year anniversary celebration at Harvest Moon Pond in Portnet, Sunday, July 24th. Doors open at 2. $10, only $10 to get in. You're going to hear 9:30 standard. Yard games, outside stuff for the kids. For the ticks and the kids.
Yeah, ticks and the kids. Check the kids for ticks later.
Oh, yeah. Food trucks, adult beverages, regular beverages,
Sure.
so no carry-ins, help support those amazing food trucks. We will see you all there. It's going to be a place to be on the 24th.
And if you can't be there, here's what I want you to do. If you cannot make this for some reason, maybe you're on vacation or something like that, can't be there, here's what I want you to do. Go to Shelter from the Storm Ministries website. It's sftsm.org. I'm reading it. I messed it up. And it's going to say on the front page, it's going to be Make a Difference in there. And I want you to go down and hit the donate button and throw them a few dollars. Folks, your dollars have proven, this whole program has proven that it is successful, and what you're doing is strengthening our community, and you're strengthening it one family at a time by working with the parents. So please don't be afraid to make a donation there. $5, $10, $100, $1 million would be awesome, and would just really appreciate it because it is such a strong and powerful organization in the way of the results that we receive from the work that we put in, and it's God's blessing too.
Absolutely, and go to the same website, the
It's not easy, is it?
It's not easy. Then you can buy your tickets there as well. Invite neighbors and stuff. Be generous. Buy some extra tickets and invite some people along, and let the kids run free and sit back and enjoy some music.
And hey, this whole thing is the silver sponsor for this is A+ Storage. The Hanleys have always been such wonderful supporters of this, and Michelle and Nick, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you to you.
Yeah.
You come see me again when you can stay longer.
I know. The summer is there was a lot of parents needing help and a lot of opportunities for me to work with kids on the spectrum. So I gotta do that stuff. But
well, you're a good one, and I really
let me jump in here. I
I'm sorry.
appreciate it.
I was talking over you. I apologize.
I know.
I'm good at it though. That's all.
You are. You are. I learned so much from you. I got to get a remote in with you this summer.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I know.
You got to have me on your show to talk about something. I don't know.
I have an idea, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, you and Winona. Winona's got an idea for me too.
I know.
I haven't seen it. Yeah. Put those ideas into action. That's how you get a Whopper or Burger King.
You need to come
the
to me
electric
like
car.
what you can share with me about parents and real estate or parents.
Oh my gosh. I am writing a book.
I know, I heard. When is that coming out?
I gotta get it finished. I keep rewriting it, and I've got to get. I want my brother-in-law to do the lawyer section in there, and I had a lawyer I wanted to use it, but that fell through.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah,
okay, I have to go. Bill, thank
Christine
you
Bright,
so much.
Parenting Game and Shelter from the Storm Ministry. You're awesome. Love you.
Thank you. Love you too.
Thanks for that. Here we go. Let's go back. How about this? Where were you with Alan Jackson? Right here on 103.5 WLSP The Sun. Good morning, everybody. Where were you? Now I gotta turn that off.
Thank you. And I'm hoping Mara gets the PSA that I recorded done, so I can start pumping that out.
So too. Melissa Radcliffe. Good morning, Madam Future State Representative. Maybe.
Oh yeah, she's another potential to be on the show, just to talk about how hard it is to be in that limelight and parent and.
Oh yeah, she's everywhere. You know that. You're the best.
Thank you for letting me pop in. Well, but after summer I'll be able to. But right now I'm doing the 8 to 12:30 with this kiddo, Monday through Friday. Which it's not as enjoyable as I thought it was going to be.
No.
Yeah, I forgot.
Facebook Live.
Oh.
Oh, okay, I'm back. Hey, Bernie, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I'm putting something in my calendar. James Weingard, good morning. How's my buddy? Morning, Miss T. Laddie. Hi, honey. James, you're in the area and you didn't stop by? Dude, I got a problem with that. Come on. Come on. Not really. It's America, right here on 103.5 WLSP, The Sun. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Good Morning Sun Prairie. I'm Bill Baker, your host, and glad that you could join me this morning. You know, it just feels like a continuation of the 4th of July. I mean, July and talking about our independence and from Britain and the celebration there, and it just continues on. And of course, we know as of this weekend, yesterday in fact, was the 4-year anniversary of the explosion, as it's called, down in downtown Sun Prairie, that took the life of one of our dearest firefighters, Corey Barr, and our hearts go out to him. Abby, you're in our thoughts, our prayers, our heart, and we know that Corey is still here watching over everybody and watching over you, and as you grow your business, and keep going. Take care of them twins. Oh my God, twins. Can you imagine twins? Oh my, I'm a father. I can't imagine having 2 at a time. 2 Alexes at one time, that would have been a challenge. I would have had to have hired Christine Bright in to help me with that, because that was such a challenge. You know, we're talking about Shelter from the Storm Ministries, and I love that organization and everything that they do and what it is all about, because it's not giving a handout. That's not their purpose. Their purpose is to give that hand up. And the folks that are coming in there are coming from a recommendation. And they don't take everybody. I'll tell you right now, they do not take everybody. Because when you come into the shelter, and again, shelter is not the right word, but when you come into the facility, you come in with the agreement that you are going to improve. You're going to do the education, that you're going to learn. And isn't that what our lives are all about anyway? Continuing our education so we get to be better people, spouses, partners, friends, all of that good stuff. Broadcasters, as James Weingard is on Facebook Live. We are on Facebook Live. If you're listening here and you'd like to see behind the scenes, see that good-looking gray-haired guy, you can go to Facebook, go to Baker William J. You can go to YouTube, and you can pick up the Sun Prairie Real Estate. It's on the Sun Prairie Real Estate channel. Go to the Media Center website and check that out also. And then you can comment in there if you want. You could call me, but I don't know how to answer the phone. Brand new system. We'll figure that out. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Hey, want to let you know that, remind you that tonight is Sunshine Supper, and it's lasagna night, and that means Heartland Church, and their lasagna is to die for. So stop by down on Main Street and pick up a meal or 2 or 3 or 10 and enjoy. It's a community-based meal right here in Sun Prairie, and they're waiting for you. It's drive up still. We're still doing drive up. We haven't decided when we're going to go inside again, which is a lot of fun. I kind of like the drive up myself, but that's okay, 'cause I get to see everybody, because I'm the guy outside checking on you, making sure you're doing okay. And I always love seeing you, Diane and Barb and everybody that comes through that line. I really appreciate it. Hey, there's something really cool happening. The radio station, the media center, is going to have its birthday party for 103.5. This station, the radio station of the year. I love that. I love saying that. It's going to happen on, what day is it? July 19th for a special concert in the park sponsored by the Friends of Sun Prairie Media Center, and the Concert in the Park series sponsor, the Bank of Sun Prairie. Playing at the concert will be 9:30 Standard, a band that specializes in blues and country, standards to rock, the music from your life is what I like to say. And 9:30 Standard has performed throughout Madison and southern Wisconsin since 2010. Folks, I'm going to tell you, they're one of the best bands I've ever listened to. It will get your toe tapping, your knee popping, you dancing, and just singing along and cheering. Amy Anderson and her husband and everybody. This band is just absolutely fabulous. Dawn and Jerry, and they're always putting some other people in there. So, but come out on the 19th and help us celebrate our birthday as a radio station. It's kind of exciting. I've been here over 6 years. And being a part of this is just so wonderful. John Quinlan is who introduced me to the radio station years ago by accident. And I love to share the story, because I was not in radio. There's no experience. I didn't know. The only experience I had in radio is how to turn it on in my car. How's that sound to you? And I was selling a condo. I am a real estate agent in Sun Prairie, the realtor of choice by many. And if you haven't chosen me, you should. But I was selling a condominium at Cherokee, where John Quinlan lived. And there was a plaque on the wall, had a microphone. And I said to him, "Are you in radio or TV?" And he says, "Well, I'm a little of both." And here's the next thing that got it all started. He goes, "Why do you ask?" I'm like, "Well, I've always thought about doing a real estate show on the radio that educates and informs the public on how to buy, sell, or invest in real estate." And that's what happened. And that's how it started. He brought me over to Jeff Robbins and introduced me to Jeff, sat me down in front of Jeff, gave out the idea, and then Jeff scared the bejesus out of me. He goes, "When would you like to start?" And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean, when do I like to start?" I said, he said, "Do you want to start tomorrow, the next day, next week?" I'm like, "I don't know how to do any of this stuff. I just have an idea." And he goes, "That's all I'm counting on. We'll push all the buttons, you come in and talk." And that's how the Sun Prairie Real Estate Show started out. And it's a lot of fun. So come over and help us celebrate this birthday on the 19th of July and have a lot of fun. There's going to be food, there's beverages, there's music. Everybody's going to be there. Ice cream, taco truck. Oh my gosh, cultural taco truck. No, you can't beat a taco. I can't get me enough. And then a beer vendor is still in the works. I love how they say that. It should have been the Sun Prairie Lions, but for some reason the city said they needed 60 days to do an approval. We're going to have to work on that. I think we might know some people, but when the Lions work the beer, what happens is the organization gets all the money. So when the city won't approve something like that, they just cost the media center about $1,000. I know. Hey, let's go back to some music, get caught up a little bit here, and then we have our own Sara Milewski coming in here to chat about a wonderful program that she's doing. And by the way, an award-winning program. Yes, she is an award-winning producer. So let's do this. Got to do me a little Bruce Springsteen. That's what I'm talking about right here on 103.5 WLSP. Morning, everybody. Get up, get out of bed. Oh, hi.
Morning, Bill.
You're on Facebook Live
Awesome.
right now.
Great.
How is you?
All right.
As I say. I said it once, and Terry goes, "That's not good grammar." I'm like, I know it's not.
So what do you know?
Oh, just living a dream right now. How you doing?
Pretty good.
I haven't heard from you all summer.
Well, Madison schools went a lot later than some Prairie schools. So then, right after that, we went on vacation. Came back from vacation with 3 out of 4 of us with COVID. So it's been 2 weeks of recovery.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So finally out in the world now. As you can hear, I'm still congested.
Yeah. Oh my. Terry still hasn't gotten her smell back, and she had COVID over a year ago.
Oh,
was it a year ago or was it this past? Man, time flies.
Yeah.
Because we both had it.
Yeah.
Hers.
And most of us, I avoided it even though I work in a building of 500 people.
Yeah.
Until we went on vacation. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, came back. My daughter had it earlier in the month. She was recovered before we went on vacation, and then the rest of us got it on vacation.
Oh my god. Brian and Jen Coiler, I think, are over in Norway right now, and she's the same way. She was the teacher and all that. They get to Norway, she gets COVID.
Yeah.
So she's sitting in the hotel room while everybody else is doing things. But so what do you want to talk about?
I just want to talk about getting people to sign up to do this show.
Cool.
Because I'm not going to, I don't talk during the interviews.
You don't?
No, people just tell their stories.
Aw.
So.
You should talk.
Well, I'll do like the connectors between the stories.
Yeah.
But I won't talk in the stories themselves because it's people telling their story.
I'm about to put this on your page.
But what on my page?
Just.
Oh, you're going to tag me?
No, I'm going to actually put it right on your little Facebook page.
Sweet.
I know. There you are. Look at that. Uh-huh. You're on. Jessica Ace, good morning. I love when people are on here. They'll comment all day long on here. They won't use that phone, which is cool too, but we'll see where we are.
What's that?
It's setting up the next part. Sorry. I can't do it without doing that. Welcome to my world.
Yeah. I haven't been live in years.
No, I love doing live.
Everything I've done, well, except for remotes, everything I've done has been pre-recorded.
Yeah, remotes have been a problem.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't been working.
Mm.
And then you can't get a hold of anybody. I'm talking to Jeff about that today. He's been on vacation. But I talked to Colin about it. I said, we need somebody there if we have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And he immediately went to money. He goes, I don't know how we can afford that. I said, it's to answer a question.
Yeah, just text us back.
Yeah.
It's usually
just answer
really
the phone. Got about a minute. Then I'm going to go into ads or announcements, and then it's you.
Alrighty.
It's just like a day of award-winning producers. Which is cool as hell.
Good morning, Sun Prairie, and welcome to Baker Street.
The question isn't what are we going to do, the question is what aren't we going to do.
This calls for the old Billy Baroo.
Time to rise and shine. Now here's your host, Bill Baker.
Hey, thanks, Lisa. Appreciate that so much. Hey, don't forget, Sunshine Supper is tonight. It's going to start at 5 o'clock and run till 6. Come down to Main Street, hang a right, come into the back line, tell them how many meals you want. We're going to bring it right out to your car. It's going to be lasagna, and it's featured by Heartland Church. So come on down. Trust me, that lasagna is to die for, and I can never get enough of it. Usually I don't get any because it's all gone by the time I get to it. But I won't be there tonight, but I will need you to come down there and enjoy this little thing that we're doing, because it's kind of fun, and I love me some Sunshine Supper. Hey, concerts in the park. Sista Sensa performs reggae music during the free summer concerts in the park series from 6 to 8 p.m. on Thursday, July 12th. At Wetmore Park, which is on North Street. Also enjoy food trucks, beer from Working Draft Beer Company, crafts for the kids, and a whole lot more. See the Sun Prairie Parks Recreation and Forestry Department Facebook page for details. Early Blues Cherry and Jerry concert. Travel back in time 100 years to hear the blues during the St. Louis-based piano percussion duo Cherry and Jerry's performance on the lawn outside the youth service area at the Sun Prairie Public. Man, my phone always rings during these, I tell you. That kills me on it. It's going to happen right outside the Sun Prairie Public Library, so join us 6:30 to 7:30 on Wednesday, July 13th. Adventure Day. Sun Prairie Business Improvement District hosts Adventure Day, an event to benefit the Sunshine Place in memory of Corey Barr on Thursday, July 14th from 2:30 to 7 p.m. featuring free food, drinks, and activities at participating downtown businesses where participants complete adventures to win prizes. See the Downtown Sun Prairie Facebook page for details and entry information. Hey, Prairie Phoenix Academy Building Celebration Open House. Celebrate the legacy of the iconic building. Reminisce and say your final goodbyes during this event from 4 to 6 p.m. on Thursday, July 14th at 160 South Street in a historic Sun Prairie building and current home to Phoenix Academy, which will be closed permanently in the fall of 2022. See the Sun Prairie Community Schools Facebook page for more information. Kids Day at the Market, it's coming. Enjoy kids activities with Explore Children's Museum and Funny Faces. Sing along with the piano gal Marta Hansen. Visit the Dream Bus. Check out Sun Prairie EMS and Fire Department vehicles during this event Saturday, July 16th at the Sun Prairie Farmers Market in downtown Sun Prairie. See the Sun Prairie Farmers Market Facebook page for details and performance times. Fun Prairie 5-Park Challenge. Yep, take a photo of your family playing in 5 parks you've never visited before July 16th and July 17th and post to social media to be entered to win a Sun Prairie Parks Recreation and Forest Department swag bag. See the Sun Prairie Parks Recreation and Forestry Department Facebook page for a list of parks entry details and how to enter to win a bonus prize. And don't forget to check the Sun Prairie Star newspaper for upcoming events, sunprairiestar.com. One more I had in here. Where is he? The Summer Lunch Series. Got this one going on. This is a summer lunch series hosted by Andy Ayers at State Farm. Join us for a free community grill out. Come meet and take pictures of Jake, at least the cardboard cutout of Jake, and the team from your local State Farm office. And that is happening from 11 to 1, and that will be also at Wetmore Park. On Thursday, you can eat and drink everything that you ever wanted till your gut bust, I guess, because it's going to be free food all day on Thursday. You just go to Wetmore Park and stay there. I think that's what you do. That's the whole thing. And then don't forget about our birthday party that's happening on July 19th at Wetmore Park for our radio station, our award-winning radio station, Station of the Year, as chosen by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association. Yes, the snobs will be there because we are the award-winning radio station of the year. We beat all the big boys, WBA, JJO. Gay got nothing on us. Hey, we're going to put out 9:30 Standard, great band. You've already heard me talk about them. And so come down and be there and enjoy this. Concert's set to begin at 6 p.m. at Wedmore Park. It's going to be a blast, and we're going to feed you 50-50 raffles. We're going to give a car away, maybe give a house away, I don't know, something like that. That's sponsored by the Friends of the Sun Prairie Media Center and, of course, the Bank of Sun Prairie. Let me do this. Whew. That was a lot. Oh, my gosh, I tell you. Now, I can't wait for this. This is so exciting. When this lady and I chatted about this, my face just lit up because I know that you can't see her right now, but she's got like this big W, and it's not for Wisconsin. It's Wonder Woman. Award-winning producer, award-winning talent, incredible teacher, super mom. Great person.
Oh, thanks, Bill.
And loving wife, Sara Milewski.
Nice to see you this morning.
I think Todd got his talents from you.
I don't know. He's got a whole different skill set than I do, but they complement each other, that's for sure.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. 21 years together.
Yep.
Saw that on Facebook.
Last week, yep.
Oh, my
Went to
gosh.
one of your favorite haunts for dinner, too.
Pocket Honeys.
Yeah, we saw you as we were pulling out. Waved at you, but you didn't see us.
I didn't see you?
That's okay, though.
It's because I'm blind almost, it seems. Hey, she's also, I want you to know this, she's also the president of the Friends of the Media Center.
Sure am.
And that's not an easy task.
But you guys are hard to corral, I gotta say.
It's like herding cats.
Yeah.
I tell you. You got a show that is an award-winning show. You took one of the big prizes, and I want to talk about that. You want to talk about that.
Well, so the show that won the prize was this one's a mouthful, the Sun Prairie Multicultural Fair Radio Reboot, because, in 2020, the Multicultural Fair didn't happen.
Right.
And so Sandy and Jake and the great people down at the city that planned that really wanted something to carry the spirit of the Multicultural Fair forward through the year where we didn't have it. Because we'd only had the event itself once before it got canceled. And so they came up with that idea. I ended up being the host, and so each month I interviewed someone from our community who has a multicultural background, is involved in an agency that assists the community, and we would talk about their lives, talk about their interests, talk about the organizations that they volunteer with or work with, and then that's what we did in place. We did 9 episodes leading up to the actual 2021 Multicultural Fair, which did happen, which was amazing. And Sista Sensa, who you mentioned in one of your announcements, was the final performer of the day, and oh my gosh, she knocks your socks off.
Oh, really?
And she is like pure energy, and she's really amazing.
Can't wait.
So, that ended once the Multicultural Fair was in person again. So this show that I'm starting is kind of a spin-off.
Okay.
Of it. And so it's called Some Prairie Stories.
Okay.
And what we're looking for is people of all backgrounds, all ages, to just join me in the studio and tell a story from their lives. Somehow the rumor got out there that it has to be like how you came to Sun Prairie, but that's not it at all.
Oh, no?
We want it to be any stories from your lives. I mean, our stories make us who we are. So we want it to be your story. So it's not available yet because we need to collect kind of a pot of stories first.
Oh, you do?
So we've recorded some so far, and then we're going to put them together into episodes and podcasts so that all the stories will be accessible eventually. But right now, we're just collecting stories.
We have such an incredible community. I mean, a diverse, a plethora of story. I mean, it's just, oh my gosh. I mean, from our German heritage coming into this community and the farming, from among communities. I mean, we've got people here that are NFL football players.
Exactly.
I mean, it's amazing. We have opera singers, world-renowned opera singers. So this would be a great opportunity. I would love to hear these stories. And you're looking for them to reach out to you.
Yep.
Well, can't we can't we reach out to them and say, hey, or
Well,
give you the names and go, hey.
Absolutely. If you know someone who would be great to tell their story, that's how I've collected the first few episodes before we got the website up and running and the press release out. it was people that either were referred to me or that I knew who had stories to tell. And so they don't necessarily have to be like, I did something big and famous.
Right.
They might be just everyday stories from your life that inform others of who you are, because
Sure.
it's your stories that make you who you are. So for example, one of the stories that I have so far is from a friend of mine who has some pretty significant challenges, some physical challenges. And I don't want to give away too much of her story, but as a child and even through adult, she's had countless surgeries.
Oh my.
And a lot of things that would make most people be like, oh, I can't do this again. But her story that she wants to tell is why I'm always optimistic, why I always look on the bright side of everything. And she really does. She's like one of the most optimistic people that I've ever met in my life.
Wow.
And you look at everything that she's been through in her life, and it's like, wow, like to come out the other side of that and not be cynical and not be angry at the world, what the world has offered you, but to be so upbeat and happy and just ready to give back to the community is just, and it's just her story. It's just who she is.
Well, I do know you're going to work with Dawn, Box of Balloons. Is it?
I haven't heard from her yet, but
Oh,
I'd
you
love
haven't?
to.
Okay, we'll make that happen.
Right.
No worries, we can do that. So, all right, so how many stories you got so far?
We're just getting started, so I only have 5 stories collected so far, but I've got some people in the pipeline. I'm recording one tomorrow night, in fact. So, yeah, we just got the press release out to Rand and the Star last week.
Sure.
And then the website's up and going through, so sunprairiemediacenter.com/Sun Prairie Stories.
Okay.
We've got some flyers that are printed up that we're hoping that when we're out on remotes can be handed out to get more people's stories. And then just word of mouth is going to be really the way that we get stories.
Wow. My mind is going about 100 miles an hour because I'm thinking of people, and then I'm trying to think of not famous people. That's the ones that you really want to hear about.
Right.
I mean, you could start with Paul Esser, but he's famous. I mean, he's our mayor and all. Our Steve Stalker. And the tricky thing for people is to like boil it down. I know.
What story they want to tell. So I can give you another example. So our beloved Alder Maureen Crombie.
Yeah.
She was one of the first people that I recorded with.
Oh, cool.
And what we do is we talk ahead of time. We talk for about 45 minutes, half hour, 45 minutes, to kind of distill down the story. That cuts down on a lot of the and the dramatic pauses that happen in a story if we've had a chance to kind of talk through it. And so what we came down to for Maureen is how she got started in public service. And so she's not telling stories about like running for office. She's telling stories about things she did as a kid and as a teenager. That it's like, what a fun story to tell. Like she was inspired by the Jerry Lewis Telethon.
Oh yeah.
When she was just a kid, and so on her parents' farm, she had her own kids fair and raised money to send to the Jerry Lewis Telethon.
I used to do the telethon every year. I've actually been on the telethon. How about that?
That's awesome.
Giving a wheelchair away.
Oh, nice.
We did a wheelchair. That's part of my life you have no idea about.
And that's the thing. Like, even like people that you think you know, people that you live with, like they're going to have stories that they may want to tell.
Right.
And so when you go to the website, when you go to the form that you can fill out that gets to me, sunprairiemediacenter.com/Sun Prairie Stories, I give you kind of sentence starters that might help direct your story. Like, the first time that I blank. Or the reason why blank. So, like, I have a friend of mine who a coworker of mine, and she thinks it's so funny. I have a story from my life for like almost every situation. And so she just thinks that it's great that I'm doing this because we all have these stories, and people think, no, my life's boring. Like, I don't have a story to tell, but everyone has a story to tell.
What's your story?
Well, where do we begin? Todd and I were talking about, my husband Todd and I were talking about that when I first started this, and he's like, how would you choose which story to tell? I don't know.
I know, right?
So, one day I think it would be this story, another day I think it would be this story. Like, the story of how I met my husband is an interesting story. The story when I broke my leg is an interesting story. Like, my mom moving to Arizona when I was, 2 weeks out of high school is an interesting story. Like, there's there's so many stories that I could choose to tell. I don't know how I pick.
You haven't mentioned your kids yet, though.
I'm not even to that point in my timeline yet, right? Like, there's so many stories I could tell. Like stories of going and learning about nature with my grandfather. Like going out and picking mushrooms and picking berries, and how he'd drive on these country roads at 15 miles an hour. And so as a child, I thought that where we were going was like the other side of the world.
Sure.
Because my grandpa drove so cautiously.
Oh my.
And so then when I learned to drive, and you got to practice all those road hours, right?
Sure.
And I realized, like, when you go the speed limit, that how much closer those places are. It was like, totally changed my worldview.
Oh my gosh, we've you're right. I can't wait to listen to all these stories. We were talking about, because you're a teacher, and Madison, though, right?
Yep.
And
I've got infinity stories about my students.
oh my gosh, Terry comes in. I hear the stories, and I just shut my eyes and go, oh my gosh. But we were talking. Terry and I were talking with a group of teachers, in fact, and I remember the days. Get this. When guys and gals, I don't remember too many gals doing it, they would bring their shotguns in to show how to clean it properly, or how to take it apart, or things like that. That doesn't happen today.
Well, that's another story that I could tell. Is my sister and I, when we took hunter safety, when we lived up in central Wisconsin, when each of us took it, we were the only girls in the class, and we were each the best shot. In fact, my sister was so good that she earned the .22 rifle.
Oh.
For being the best shot in the class, and all these boys were like flabbergasted.
A girl beat them.
Right. And so, like, all these stories make me who I am. Like, you'd meet me now and you go, you shot a deer? Yeah, I did. That's how I grew up, was in that culture. And so, but that makes me part of who I am, right? Like, meeting me on the street, talking to me for 20 minutes, you're not going to know those things about me, but I am part of Sun Prairie.
Sure.
My stories are part of me, so therefore my stories are part of the Sun Prairie story.
Right.
So that's really what we want to do with this program and this podcast, is really highlight who we are as the people of Sun Prairie.
That is just too cool.
Whether they're people who lived here their entire lives,
sure,
for 20 years, or they moved here 2 months ago.
Oh, wow. Wow. People have asked me how long I've said I've been here 30 years. And they're like, oh, well, you're like an old timer. I'm like, oh, well, this has been home. I'm 60 years old. Half my life has been in Sun Prairie. This is my home. I may be a Kentucky kid, but this is, when I call home, this is home.
Right. And the stories that you bring, some are here, but some are from that boy in Kentucky, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's what makes you you.
Sure. I remember. So all these stories are popping into my head,
right?
Christopher's mom, Linda, is from Philadelphia, the Philadelphia area, city girl, 100% Italian. Her last name was Ciccone, Linda Ciccone. I swear to God, she talked like this. It was great. Loved her to death. Still great friends, her and her husband Mike. And I remember taking her to the farm for the first time, and at that time my grandparents and all that had already sold their farm. They'd moved into town, but my uncle still was milking and all that, so I took her to I showed her where the chocolate milk came from. So we're in the parlor, and it's elevated, so you're down below, and then the cows walk in, and it's funny how the cows know where to go. It's hilarious.
Oh yeah, they're totally in charge.
Uh-oh. I don't know. Oh, you did that.
Sorry, I did that.
No, that's okay. So we're standing there, and so I just jump right in with my cousin and uncle and all that, and I'm showing her the process and all this. Well, we know, and any farm kid out there knows, that when you see a cow shift, they move at all, you better be watching, because it's coming. And that tail just went up and plap, 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 all over her. I've never seen somebody go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I said, don't worry, it's just cow poop, don't worry about it. Got all over her. I'll never forget. She'll tell that story 100 times, and it gets better every single time.
Right, and while that's your story, her take on it is probably completely different. She probably tells the story in a much different
Right.
way than you do, right? Like if I were to tell the story of our first child being born, our daughter Megan, if I told the story, it'd be really different than how Todd told the story, or how my mom told the story, because she was there too. Because you experience the world through your own lens, which is like even identical twins are going to tell stories completely differently, right? Even or kids who grew up in the same household and the same event happens, because you're not the same, right? So the way that you experience the world depends on how you experience the world right now.
Right.
Depends on how you've experienced the world up to that point.
Exactly.
And those are your stories.
Sure. Yeah. We're talking about hunting and all that. I mean, my cousin and I, we're 7, 8 years old. We're out on the farm and we're carrying shotguns and we're out hunting. At that age, kids today, they ain't going nowhere with a gun at that age. Parents, well, I'm sure there are some parents that do, but when you say that, there are parents out there right now going, "Oh my God, how could you do that? Why would you give your child a weapon?" It's not a weapon; it's a gun to them. But it's just the different lifestyles and all that.
Right.
They can't imagine. They can't imagine.
And then, you and I are talking about very similar stories, but then you add in maybe growing up in a different country.
Oh, sure.
Or your family's journey from another country.
Right.
Or even if your parents were the ones who came from another country, and how that changed how you grew up. The experiences that you had going back to see family. Like colleagues of mine whose families like are from Mexico or Colombia. And even though they were born here, going back as a child to visit their grandparents and their aunts and uncles and their cousins and everybody else who they only, they may not have seen until they were 8, 9, 10, 12 years old. And like how those experiences then change their perspective on everything that they see and do here. It's like, it's everyone's story is different.
Wow. Hey, it's Bill Baker. You're listening to 103.5 WLSP and Good Morning Sun Prairie. In studio, we have Sara Milewski. She's here. She's got a brand new show that's all about you. And she's looking for people to be on her show and to tell stories. Tell your story or a story of you or something about you. I think it'd be cool just to, what you don't know, about a person or whatever. I love those stories. Now, do this. Go to sunprairiemediacenter.com/Sun Prairie Stories. And that's where you'll get detailed information, and then you can sign up, and she'll reach out to you. Or you can reach out to her directly on Facebook, or whatever way you want to. Or
my email address is also on the website. So if you're like, I'm not so sure, you can email me directly. And there's a form on the website, sunprairiemediacenter.com/Sun Prairie Stories, and that will come to me also. So, sorry. Even if you're not sure, like, I'm not sure what story I want to tell yet, fill out the form anyway. You and I will sit down before we record, and is my email not on there? You're making a face, Bill. All right, I'll make sure.
You knew it. Man, see, you know me too well.
If I don't, see? But so we'll sit down before we record, and we'll talk through your story, because talking through your story will help you really get clarity and really hone in on what you want to say. So if you're feeling like, I'm not really sure what story I want to tell, we'll sit down and chat, and I feel like I'm a good listener, and I pick up threads of what people are saying, and then we kind of braid that together to make the story that you want to tell.
Awesome. I love this. We're looking for stories from your life. The story could be funny, sad, joyful. Maybe you want to share a tale of perseverance or love or leaving or finding, or a tale of lessons learned. I should put my glasses on. We're looking for people of all ages and backgrounds. I love this. Yes, your email is not on there.
I'll make sure it gets on there.
Yeah.
I
love the logo, by the way.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I designed it myself.
You did? Awesome.
Yeah. So the one of the stories I have recorded so far is actually a high school student.
Oh.
And not my daughter,
Okay.
not even an acquaintance of my daughter, but she wanted to tell the story of, she went to parochial school for middle school.
Mm-hmm.
That's when her family moved to Sun Prairie. And then she's going to public school for high school. And so she wanted to talk about the lessons that she's learned from both. Not like, it's just a history lesson that she learned, but being in those very different environments and kind of what has she taken from both. And it's just a really interesting story, and she was so brave to come on and do it because she was so nervous. But you just never know what story we're going to come up with.
That's true. That's true. So how long have you been teaching?
21 years.
And you're going to teach again?
And that's the plan.
Just asking. There's a lot of teachers not teaching anymore.
Yes, that's a whole other story to tell. Is
I know.
Where we are now in teaching and my own teaching journey. So that's another story.
So what do you teach?
It's kind of complicated to explain, but
We have 30 minutes.
Okay, I am I'm a STEAM makerspace.
Excuse me?
So science, technology, engineering, arts, and math.
Oh.
For the whole school. I mean, it's been K through 3 up till now, but it'll be K5 this coming year. And so I see each class of kids for an hour a week. And they come in and we do a short mini lesson on science, technology, engineering, arts, math topic or tool or pioneer in that area.
Okay.
And then I turn the kids loose for a half hour of making. And they have all these choices of things that they can do. They're all open-ended. And then at the end we clean up and I shuffle them out the door, and the next hour another group comes in.
Was there somebody in your family that was a teacher that you know?
No one in my family is teachers. No.
Oh my gosh.
So a lot of this is I've only done 3 years of this.
Okay.
I was a second and third grade teacher for a long time before that. And then the pandemic year, I taught kindergarten virtually, which was a trip.
Oh my gosh.
And then, so this really came, I credit my dad a lot for this. My dad, he passed away about 6 years ago, he's a carpenter and very into nature.
Okay.
And being outdoors. And so a lot of my curiosity in those areas came from my dad. Like and my mom eventually too. Like once my parents got divorced, my mom took on a lot of those things herself.
Uh-huh.
So when the kids want to make something and they're like, I don't know how to do it, I can't do it, I say, let's figure it out together.
Okay.
What do you want to try first? If that doesn't work, what are we going to try next?
Sure.
Maybe it's going to take us in a whole different path. And so it's just a place for creativity and problem solving. Kids do a ton of problem solving, and that's how I spend my days. I always say I have the best job in the building. So.
Oh my gosh. When Alex was in school, he excelled in math. He's one of these that I always use the example, he could look at a stack of numbers that are 4 or 5 wide, 6 or 7 high, blink his eyes and give you the number on it. And then in his algebra and all that, he was just a whiz kid. And I kept saying to him, did you know these games that you're playing are all about algebra?
Mm-hmm.
I said, it's all about writing an algorithm. And he's like, well, okay, so I'm like, you could do that and you could make your own game.
Mm-hmm.
And so we brought him stuff, and it didn't click at all. You're trying to guide him and all that. But I think what's really cool about what you do is you're giving kids a taste of what they might like.
Mm-hmm.
And then we mess them up.
Yeah, like by putting them in a box.
Right, we put them in a box.
You should do this. You shouldn't do
Right.
that. Girls do this. Boys do that.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's really helping kids see that what's possible.
Yeah.
And to get to try it and see what makes them excited.
Sure.
And the things they come up with, like we use a lot of like upcycled materials, so things that people normally would have donated or thrown away, they end up in my space, and people will donate things to me. Like somebody, for example, gave me a big box of Formica samples, like a home improvement store. Remodel, like the remodeling show.
Sure.
Like place where you go to all your materials, right? Like Viridian might have something like that. And just hundreds and hundreds of this box was like 50 pounds. And from like business card size up to 4x6.
Okay.
And they're like, what do you think the kids are going to do with them? And my answer is always, I have the foggiest idea, because they think of things that I never would think of, and think you would never would think of.
Right.
And kids use these Formica samples for things like, one kid wanted people to be able to find him on some game that they play, and so he made his own business cards.
Ah,
And
I love it.
friends. Another kid used them to make a house for her stuffed animal. So she taped all the edges together, and she had to do a lot of problem solving because she'd tape it and it would fall apart. And so she had to try different kinds of tape and different ways of making the connecting part.
Sure.
Kids would use them to make lanyards, so that then they said that they were the teachers and they could unlock the doors in the classroom, because they would make their own little ID badges, and just like countless ways that kids found to use these, making them into like their own little pretend robots. So whenever people ask me, like, how do you think that they'll use it, I have absolutely no idea.
Well, I think as you said, we put them in a box. We get in their way.
Right.
And then we say, well, you definitely, I know you're really excelling at math on this, but we need you to take a lot more English. And even if we get to college is a business. Mm-hmm. They're going to give you classes you have to take, but you really don't need them. And but it's a business. People need to learn it. It is a business. And yes, I paid my dues also, just like everybody else. But we could shrink that by 2 years, I swear. But it won't happen. Why? Because of jealousy. Because we had to do 4+ years, and then that means everybody else has to do it.
Well, I mean, like, circling back around, like, that's another part of my story. My license, my general education license, is only to teach birth to 3rd grade. It took me 6 years to be able to teach birth to 3rd grade. But that's part of my story. I started out pre-med.
Okay.
I hit a wall when I got to organic chemistry because of the way that it was taught. Like, I know now that had organic chemistry been taught in a different way, because the people who were able to take the D in the first semester, I couldn't afford to take a D because I was paying for my own college. The second semester, they're like, oh yeah, they went back and they taught us all the stuff that they didn't teach us that would have made it easier. But that's neither here nor there, because where that took me was I had been since I was paying for my own college, I was working with kids the whole time. So I changed my major, but I didn't get into the School of Ed that first cohort. So I'm one of the few people who has a Bachelor of Science to teach kindergarten through 3rd grade, because most people end up with BAs, because you don't need all those math and science credits that I had.
Right.
But then I went back, and I'm so grateful that I have all that math and science. And since I didn't get in right away, I almost have enough credits to have a minor in African Studies. When else would I have had an opportunity to take all those classes in, comparative African literature and African languages and like all these classes that I was able to take because I wanted to, and I couldn't afford to not be in college, because then you have to start paying back your loans and everything.
That's right.
So, those 6 years, it took me another 10 after that to pay them all off. It was so meaningful to be able to take those classes and have that be part of my story and have that perspective on people that I didn't have.
Isn't that interesting?
Growing up in Central Wisconsin, I had a lot of Hmong classmates and friends, but there were only 2 African Americans in my graduating class of almost 700 people.
Oh wow.
And they were adopted by white families.
Oh wow.
Because that's what Central Wisconsin is. And so getting that opportunity to learn so much more about other cultures, I wouldn't have had that opportunity had I not been on that journey, that crazy, weird, twisted path that I took through college. So that's another part of my story.
That's so interesting. How do I describe this without sounding? So a Kentucky kid growing up, it was an interesting time back in the 60s. I was born in 61, and one of my best buddies was Jimmy Chambers, and we played football together. We played organized football together. My dad was the coach. One of the my godparent was the other coach, Billy Andriott, and we played for Andriott's, the football team. There was a menswear, and Jimmy was one of my buddies. Charles Hurt was one of my buddies. I mean, I can go right down the line. So we're going to have a birthday party at my house. And we're gonna do a camping out back. We've got tents. Mom's got tents. We're gonna do out there. But Jimmy's not allowed, and neither is Charles. They're not permitted. And so it was upsetting. I mean, I was mad. No, Jimmy's coming over. He's my best buddy. I love him. you're young kids, 7, 8, 9 years old. I think it was about 8. And the reason for it was because he's black. And so the mothers got together. We went over to Jimmy's house, which I was welcome anytime, and Jimmy was always welcome at my mom's house, mom and dad's house. And they sat and explained to us why they couldn't do that. And it wasn't because of us. It was about they felt their safety for us, around us. For me, that hits home a lot of times because of everything else that goes around in our world today and all that. And I don't see things the way other people see things, and how things affect, like central Wisconsin and the Hmong population. And to you, okay, they're just classmates.
Right.
And that's what I thought too.
Right. Well, and so the reason why, you asked me, like, I was telling you before we came on the air that I don't talk when people are telling their stories. Like, we talk ahead of time.
Oh, yeah.
But while the people are recording their stories, like, you won't hear my voice during their stories. And that's because I don't want to bring what my experience is to their story. Their story is their story. So, like, I have a classmate story, too. Like, when I was in kindergarten, first grade is when the big wave of Hmong refugees came to central Wisconsin. And because of the housing situation, Stevens Point, the largest group came to my elementary school. And there was enough that they put them in a segregated class.
Oh.
But we still had recess together.
Okay. Was that because of language, though?
For language support, because there weren't anybody else who needed language support. That was that's my understanding now, and looking back and being an ESL teacher. I'm guessing that's what they did. I don't know. I was far too young to know that then.
Sure.
But we had recess together, and there was this little girl, Shua. She and I could not talk to each other because she didn't speak enough English, and I didn't speak any Hmong. So, but we just like to play together at recess, and our recess attendant came over to me and told me after about 3 weeks, she said, "You can't play with her."
You can't play with her?
Can't play with her.
Why?
And I was, first grade, and I cried and cried and
cried.
Oh my
gosh.
And that, how does a child even understand that?
Right.
But I never played with Shu again.
Oh my gosh.
Because this authority figure told me I couldn't. And I was 6 years old.
Oh my goodness. But
if someone's in the studio telling that story from their perspective, I don't want to bring my perspective to that, because then that's going to change the trajectory of their story.
Okay, I get it.
So when you come to record a Sun Prairie story with me, we'll talk ahead of time, but then it's your story. It's going to be your stage, and it's going to be your voice, and whatever you feel comfortable sharing, as long as it's your story and not someone else, not someone else's story, like, that's the story that we're going to tell.
Wow. I think it's a great idea. And folks, for more information on this, again, go to the Sun Prairie Media Center website, sunprairiemediacenter.com/Sun Prairie Stories, and then there's a little bit of an introduction and a place for you to register, or just reach out to Sarah and share your story. Share an interest. Say, hey, I'm interested in sharing this. That would be so cool. That would be just so cool. And I would love to hear your stories.
Yeah, I really think that it's going to give people of Sun Prairie insight into their neighbors. Like we've been talking about, there's no way that you can know these things about people and their stories. My in-laws have been married for over 50 years, and just a couple of weeks ago,
50 years.
Yeah, my father-in-law said something about an instrument that he wants to play. He's a musician.
Oh.
But my mother-in-law had no idea. You played that? And she had no idea. They've been married for 50 years.
Oh my gosh. That is hilarious.
There's no way that you can know that you can know all the stories that someone has to tell.
Over 90 openings in Sun Prairie School District.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Over 80-some openings in DeForest, where Terry is.
I can't even tell you how many there are in MMSD. It's ridiculous.
Melissa Ratcliffe says, I'm looking forward to hearing the stories, too. What a great idea.
Melissa, what story do you want to share?
Yes, Melissa.
Yeah, come on in.
Yeah, well, she's got to be careful right now. So you have to do shared time. Equal time.
Oh, well, yeah. Might have to wait till after an election. And these shows, won't be airing for a while, like we said. So if you come in and record your story and you're like, well, when it's going to be on the air, when can I share it with my family or
Right.
whatever?
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be working on building up a cache of stories so that then we can put them in episodes. So the stories that people are recording are between 5 and 20 minutes, which isn't long enough for a radio show. So what we're going to do is, once we have enough of them, we're going to look for connections between them. Whether those connections are motherhood, or those connections are a journey, or those connections are learning from a mistake. And then put those stories together to make an episode. We're also planning to have them all individually available as podcasts.
Okay.
So the shows will go on the air, and the individual podcasts will go on our website.
How'd you get started with the Media Center? Was it through Kids 4?
Kind of. So we have a photo of the moment that we got involved with the Media Center.
Really?
Yeah, it's funny because it comes up in our we have a kitchen display that our photos go through, like a Google display. And this picture comes up and every time it makes us laugh. It's a picture of Jeff Robbins with fake headphones on with corn on them, and he's using a piece of corn to interview our kids.
Oh my gosh.
Because it was just as the radio station was launching, and so they were raising awareness, and it was in the Cornfest parade.
Oh.
And so he stopped and pretended to interview our kids, and we have a photo of this.
That's so funny.
And so that's what that was just before Megan was Kids 4 age, so she got started in Kids 4. We got really excited about it. We did the radio orientation. Megan and I started a radio show, whatever we did for a few years.
Right.
And then, the rest is history. Todd started his show with Brad Sarin, and so
I missed that show, by the way.
They do it, but it's kind of hit and miss because
I know.
it doesn't get instigated from his side. It's from the school district side.
Oh,
so,
is it? We got to change that.
With everything that's been going on in schools and school districts, it's just a matter of them having the time to do it and the guests to have on. So.
And he knows a little bit about sports too.
He does. He knows a lot about sports, but his schedule tends to be very full since that is his job, not his hobby.
Yes, that's his bill-paying job. But he does. He's broadcast. Didn't he do basketball or hockey or something? Or
no, he definitely wouldn't have been during those seasons because that's when he's really busy with hockey. But I think he did a baseball game or a softball game.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he really enjoyed it, but it often doesn't work out with his schedule.
Every time something's happened here, I've been pushed into it. So Jeff Robbins pushed me into football. And standing outside the door coming out after a real estate show, he goes, I remember you saying you played football. And I'm like, yeah, well, I played football in high school. He goes, good. I need you to be on the broadcast Friday night. I'm like, doing what? What are you going to do? You're going to be the color guy with this guy, Mike Powers. I'm like, well, I know Mike. Well, but I don't know what I'm doing. He goes, don't worry. It'll be fine. Just do what Mike tells you. You get pushed into it.
Oh, yeah, that's, I know that well.
But, the newspaper side of stuff, too. I personally love to hold a newspaper.
Well, we should give some background that my husband is a reporter for the Wisconsin State Journal.
Yes, he is.
So otherwise, you and I know that, but your listeners may
That's
not
true.
know that.
That's true, and thanks for doing that.
Sara Milewski.
And but I love holding a newspaper, and then I love to read good writing. And he's a good writer.
Yeah, he's a very good writer.
Sports related, but he's a good writer. I like to read something else that he would write.
Well, his job has shifted a little bit to where he's now doing more enterprise type stories that are kind of more the long form about a lot of different things. Because he really enjoys doing those kind of the other side of sports stories too.
Sure.
He really doesn't have much interest in certainly about writing about politics or things like that, but he had a stint as the videographer for Madison.com, and so he did a lot of interesting things then. But sports is really where his heart is. So he just did a really big piece on the 50th anniversary of Title IX.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah, it was like a big Sunday.
I'll have to go back and read it. It must have been the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I didn't read it.
Yeah, so he's doing a lot of those more kind of long form pieces right now. And then hockey's his main passion and beat. So Always hockey at our house.
Always hockey. Did he play hockey?
No.
No.
And
Just
that's
loves
part of
hockey.
his story. Like, I'm not going to tell his story. You'll have to ask him his
Give
story.
me a tease. You can give me a little tease on that, you know. So, all right, here, I got to ask the teacher. I talked to Christine this morning. I've talked to my Terry about this stuff. How do we get kids to say, please, thank you, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, all those good things?
Well, one is you
And
have
respect
to...
their elders.
You have to... So there's been a lot of shifts in what does respect mean and who does it benefit. And so, like, our school is usually like at the front edge of the curve on thinking about like race and equity type things, and so like for the longest time we had be safe, be respectful, be responsible, be kind as our 4 main rules, and we've kind of taken a step back to reevaluate that because that idea of being respectful in a school that is the vast majority of our students are non-white. And the vast majority of our staff are white, and
Okay.
so what message is that sending?
Mm-hmm.
So, are we telling students that they need to be respectful because for the sake of being respectful? Are we telling students that they need to be respectful because of our racial difference? Are we telling students like what does that mean and what does that imply? So manners are a different thing than that idea of respect. What does respect mean? Because that can carry a lot of heavy connotation to it. So, you know, what I do with kids is I model it.
In what way?
Well, I mean that's how kids learn. The vast majority of what they learn is what they see and what they experience. So when I need something from a child, I say please. I say thank you when they do something.
Right.
When they want me to do something, I model how I'd like them to say that. Like, hey, Miss Muskie, I need some buttons. But they're in my classroom. I say, you could say, Miss Muskie, can you please get me some buttons when you have a minute? And then they say, oh, okay. Can you please give me some buttons when I have a minute? Because they're really motivated for me to get those buttons. But that repetition and that experience of having it modeled over and over and over, like that's how you teach kids everything. That's how you taught them. Think about when your boys were little, like everything that they know, that's how you taught it to them.
Sure.
Repetition,
Sure.
repetition.
Sure. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You are so right. I can't wait to hear all these stories.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
And you're just gonna do 9 stories?
Oh no, we're gonna do. I mean, this
as many as you can do.
Yeah, this could be ongoing forever and ever. I mean, in talking with Sandy and Jake from the city and with Jeff, like we have visions like at some time down the road, possibly making an interactive exhibit at the Sun Prairie Historical Museum.
Okay.
Where you could go and touch Maureen Crombie's face and hear Maureen's story.
What a great idea.
Yeah, but I mean, first we need those stories.
Sure.
So, if you want to come and tell your story, we would love to have it. It's going to be whatever story you want to tell, in the way that you want to tell it, as long as it's a story from your life. We're not collecting fiction stories at this time, but go to sunprairiemediacenter.com/Sun Prairie Stories and check it out, read the rest of the information, fill out the form, and it comes to me and I'll get back to you.
I don't know if you saw this or heard about it, but it was on 60 Minutes some time ago. Oh, look who's coming.
I just saw the reflection. I saw my husband's car go by.
They had survivors of Auschwitz, and they've recorded them, and you can actually talk to them, and they answer you. But they're telling their story, and it's like what you're doing, and it's just so powerful, and to the point where I want to do my dad before he's gone.
Right, and so the part of the inspiration for this, besides the Multicultural Fair Radio reboot, was I don't know if you've seen them on Facebook, but there's this group called Humans of New York.
Okay.
And they were kind of one of the first that they just collect stories of of New Yorkers.
Okay.
And it's kind of that same thing. And then they tell the story over a series of Facebook posts.
Wow.
With photos of the people. And then there's one that's more local. It's called Love Wisconsin, kind of doing the same thing. So we want to bring it down to Sun Prairie and telling Sun Prairie stories. So like the Love Wisconsin just told over the course of a week or two the stories of Jessie Garcia, who was the first Latina news or sports anchor in Wisconsin.
Okay.
And so she grew up here in Madison. She's in Milwaukee now. She was in Green Bay. She did the Mike McCarthy report.
Okay.
And she was the host of that program. So that's like they told her story and how she ended up there, what that was like, and
Sure.
and who her influences were, and the barriers she encountered, and
Cool.
things like that. So those were kind of my inspirations for this, and we're just doing it in an audio format rather than written format.
I think you should do it TV.
That would have a lot more people saying they don't want to do it. I think
Really?
a lot of people are really uncomfortable to be on camera. So for now, we're doing this. But I am asking for a photo of each person so
that's
that
cool.
eventually, once we put these out, we have an image to go with it also.
I think I love those stories. I have to go on and look at the Auschwitz stuff. I mean, I want to go to Germany to experience that, because I don't think anything will give you the overall experience of what occurred in Germany at that time frame.
Have you ever been to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C.?
I have not, and I want to do that too.
That's a life-altering experience right there.
It's I want to. Yeah, it's something I want to do.
You walk in, and one of the first things you see is just a wall, long hallway, and it's behind glass, and it's all shoes.
Shoes?
That were collected from people as they were put to death.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just shoes, and just the number of shoes that you see. And there's little shoes, and there's big shoes, and there's women's shoes, and there's men's shoes. And there's shoes that look brand new, and there's shoes that look like they've been worn for years. And
wow.
That's one of the first things you see, and it just like breaks your heart.
I bet. Oh my goodness. It's a time in our world that we should never forget.
Right.
We should never forget that.
And really, what's crazy is we're living in a time that we should never forget.
Oh yes.
And so recording people's stories from now, because if I told the story, like I was saying earlier, of like my daughter's birth, 15 years ago, it's different than the story that I tell about it now.
Right.
So recording these stories is really important, because they're going to change and evolve as you as a person change and evolve, and your perspective on it changes and evolves. So, getting all of these stories recorded is important for our community. It's really important for our community, because our community is growing and changing, as we know, faster than any other community in Wisconsin.
Right.
And so to understand that, both right now and from a historical perspective, it's really important to get these stories.
Yeah.
So it might not seem important to you, your story about the first time that you went hunting with your dad, but it is. It is an important story. So, hop on right now, go to sunprairiemediacenter.com/celebratestories, fill out that form. Bill's going to fill it out, because he's going to come in and record a story.
I'll come do one.
But he's got to just narrow it down. Like, that's the hard part, is what story do you want?
I know, right?
So, yeah, and Maureen, after she finished hers, she's like, I've got like a whole bunch more that I want to come in and record now. So.
Well, here, this is kind of, we got about 5 minutes left. I'm a former Duncan Yo-Yo champion.
And no one probably knows that.
I have
so many people that know you probably like, what?
I know, I have yo-yos all over my office. I can still do a lot of the tricks and all that stuff, but I love to tell that to people. They're like, what? Yeah, that's me. That's me.
and there's so many things like that people are so surprised by.
Oh, sure.
Like me and having killed a deer.
Killed a deer?
People are like,
and gutted it, I bet.
What? Well,
you have
luckily, I have an allergy. I have really severe
to dead things?
allergies to fur.
What?
So even as a very young child, like my family hunted a lot, as I said, and so my dad and my uncles would have all the deer in the garage, and you had to go get your picture taken with the deer, right? And my eyes swell shut. Oh
my gosh.
It's really, like, I have really bad allergies to fur. and a lot of other things. But fur is the big one, and the first one that we knew was deer, because we had dogs, but they were hunting dogs, so they were outdoors.
Okay.
And so I was never around them that much. They weren't like family pet type dogs. But the deer were the first thing with fur that I was really around, and I would get so sick all the time. So that was the first thing we knew I was allergic to.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, there you go, another story.
Yeah, and there's just so many of them, and everyone has stories to tell.
That's true. Sara Milewski, thank you.
Thanks for having me on, Bill.
It's your idea. I loved it, though. Thanks. I'll put my name in there. I'll sign up. I'll figure out something to talk about. I'll do that for you.
All right, so let's plug one more time.
Okay. Sun Prairie, go to sunprairiemediacenter.com/Sun Prairie Stories and go in and register and put it in there. Sign up, and I mean, you can always back out, but at least get your name in there, and then let's have Sara, you guys get together and talk, and then you'll figure it out. It's about a 20-minute period.
Yeah, it usually takes us between 5 and 20 minutes to record. We take about a half hour before that to just chat.
Yeah.
And get your story the way that you want it. Like I said, to reduce a lot of the.
You're gonna do some editing, in other words.
We will, but it's more like, because people have different storytelling paths, and it's to get your path the way that you want it to be.
All right, that sounds cool. I'm with you. I'm with you. Thank you for being on. Hey guys, we're going to get out of here. Join me on Wednesday for the Sun Prairie Real Estate Show. And Laura and I will bring you the latest updates on condos. We'll be talking a little bit about apartments. And so we've got a lot of news to talk about in the world of real estate. Sara, thanks again for being on the show. Don't forget, sunprairiemediacenter.com/Sun Prairie Stories. Get there. And then also don't forget about the party for Shelter from the Storm Ministries. It's there. It's out there. The 20. I forgot about it now. I'm going to be there. I know, and I forgot about it. I know. I'm like the 24th up in Poinette at Harvest Moon. Bye, Sun Prairie. See you next time.
Ordinary place.
Thanks, Bill Baker.
You're still on Facebook Live. Just to let you know.
So I don't start dropping swears or what?
Well, yes. Well, it does happen. Or people will start saying something like, or I'll do it. Or I will do it.
One of the projects that I took on this past year at school was, I usually do the school play, and they didn't let us do it this year. So I'd have the 5th graders, we would do a weekly news. And so they'd come and they'd record their bit for the weekly news. And we did it on video, so I'd cue them and I pointed to them, they'd talk, and then before I'd stop, they'd go, "Oh, I want to do it again, I made a mistake." And they're like, "No, you have to wait until I stop recording." They do it every time.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Oh, I used to do theater, and actually they're talking to me about doing it here in Sun Prairie.
Fun.
It'd be fun to do.
It is really.
Just something else on my schedule.
Exactly. I really like I really like directing.
Do you?
So I directed our school play for the 3 years that we did the play, and then I was the 4th. Hi there.
What? Hi.
Did you hear Bill Baker talking about
I hear you talking about me.
Yeah, we were bragging you up. Absolutely bragging you up.
Sounded good.
Great.
Thanks.
Excellent.
Make sure run. There we go. No.
You wanted me to tell your story. I don't know. That's your story to tell.
We don't have.
I'll tell my story.
You need to turn down the lights to tell my story.
There we go. Now it's
Shady back alley.
the shady
streets of Wauwatosa, Wisconsin.
I like how you write. I was bragging on you.
No, thank you.
You're welcome. I used to love when I lived out east to get the New York Times just because I like the writing style of the writers.
Those kind of places that give you a little bit more opportunity to write long, take your time in writing it.
Oh, really?
Well, but that with
stuff we don't really get as much anymore.
The new part of your job,
But
you're getting
that's-
more of that.
Let's hope.
You got to send Bill the link for your Title IX
Yeah.
story.
I need a mental note to go find. Leave it open.
Hi, Megan.
Mara wants me to go through markers. Do you want the dead ones?
I don't want them. No, I have
Dead
about
markers?
50 pounds of markers because Carola's not accepting them.
Oh. I was gonna
yet.
say, other than-
Let me see if they are yet, because there's a program called Color Cycle through Crayola where you can send in the dead markers and then they recycle them. But they stopped doing it during the pandemic, which made sense. But they have not restarted it. Their website still says because of the pandemic we're not doing it. It's like, but we've all been back in school now. And so everybody brings their dead markers